Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Buki Obikunle and I'm happy you're here. Today I have something very special for you, and this is because I'll be answering a lot of questions from my colleague who is right here beside me. I will hand over to him now to introduce himself and then we'll get rolling.
Thank you. My name is Damilola Taiwo. I'm so happy to be here on this platform. And here today I have some questions that I've compiled.
Okay.
And I know that these questions will not only help me, but will help so many people out there. And so I don't know if you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay,
so we could shoot.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the first question. I have here. Says, should I have yearly budget plan or a monthly budget plan?
Okay, that's a good question. I would say, first of all, what exactly is a budget? A budget is a way of you planning your finance and having an oversight of what's and how much you're spending on your expenses from your income every month or every year. So I would say you can either have a monthly budget or a yearly budget. It depends on what exactly is your goal. However, I would actually intensify that. The first thing you should actually do is, now that we are entering a new year, maybe you should look at having a yearly budget.
Okay.
And then you could now break it down into monthly budget, just like these big corporations do. They have like an annual budget, a yearly budget, and then those yearly budgets is broken down into monthly budget or sometimes even quarterly budgets, and then they break it down into month, and then from there you can take that little pieces and drive it down into the little bits of what exactly or what your needs are every month.
Okay.
So, and the thing is, I would say that why I said you should have a month, you should actually do a monthly budget at the end of the day, because your income most times comes on a monthly basis, or if you're a weekly earner, it comes on a weekly basis. So it doesn't make sense for you to start budgeting all of a sudden for that huge amount you don't have now. You understand? But if you're sure that, okay, at the end of the year, you're still going to have your job because you have an unlimited contract or something like this, yes, you can go ahead and do the annual budget. But then always try to break it down into the monthly budget, because then your monthly budget is like your short-term goals. Okay. Right? So I would look at the annual budget or your yearly budget as a long-term goals. So break your long-term budget or your annual budget into short-term budget, and then from there you can easily pick it up and do what you have to do with your budget. So of course you can have the two, that's my answer, but then I would say you should of course focus more on your monthly budget. And then maybe one other thing is why I think the other thing why I'm saying you should go for the two, because if you do an annual budget, you can also track what is your growth, how are you growing on an annual basis. You know, you can say, okay, maybe this year I earned like 70k, and then next year, okay, I want to do some other things that would increase my income, and then maybe I then plan to have a budget of 80k next year, right? So that's why I said so, but of course.
Thank you so much. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome.
So the second question we have here is, how many credit cards should I have?
Oops. Well, I would say I'm not a big fan of credit cards, because credit cards tend to help you to spend most times outside of what you earn. Therefore, for me, it's not a question of how many credit cards you should have. It's more like, do you actually need a credit card? However, we're in a place whereby there are some things you cannot do without a credit card.
Exactly.
So because of that, I would say having just one is sufficient. One that would give you all the things you need, all the benefits a credit card will give you. So, but most people end up getting into so much debt because they have credit card from company A, company B, company C, company D, and company E, and before they know it, they do not have any more oversight on what exactly are their debts, like who are they owing. So, but if you have just one, you know how much you're taking out of that credit card per month, you know how much you're paying back. And that's something very important in personal finance. You need to have an oversight of what is coming in for you and what is going out and where is it going into. That's why I would say, or I would recommend that just have one that you can easily keep an eye on. You can track what you're spending, where you're spending it on. Imagine, for example, if one of your credit card, if you have more than one credit card, like 2 or 3 or 4, and one of them get missing, and you don't even notice that one of them is missing because you have other ones you're using, and maybe that one that is missing, somebody else has picked it up and used it, and the person is, and you're not exactly, and another one, that person is netting on your behalf, and then someday they just keep sending bills to you, and you're like, okay, and you don't know where you're like, okay, where did I exactly spend this money? So I would say you should rather go for one card that is strong enough to cover all the things you need for a credit card, and then use that particular one instead of going for multiple ones and then losing oversight and drag yourself into more debt.
That's good. And I think another thing people need to know is that credit card money is not your money. So
exactly. Yes, credit card money is not your money. It's somebody else's money, and credit card is not. It's something that you have to. It's money. It's a money that you also pay for. You understand? Because then you have to pay interest rates on to the company that is borrowing you, and the longer you stay in paying up your debts, the more your interest rates accrue to you, and then the more you have to pay for something that maybe at first when you spend the money, it was just one very little money, and before you know it, because you didn't have an oversight of that money, it's like rolls up quickly, and then before you know it, you have so much huge debt that you cannot even pay up at the end of the day. So I would advise you and your friends stick to one credit.
So how much should I be saving?
How much should you be saving? Well, I would say that's it depends on what's your income and what's your expenses. So I cannot give you an absolute figure now. Okay, yeah, I think you should save $10 or 10 euros or 10 naira or whatever currency you're using currently. But what I'm someone that I really like working with percentages. So for me, it's a principle. Okay, maybe out of every income that comes to me, I will try to save at least a minimum of 20%. Right. So whatever I use that savings for at the end of the day is not something that I would answer in this question. Maybe it comes up in another question. But I would say maybe you should look at something that's okay, 20% of your income. Try to save it. But then before you get to that particular point of 20% of your income, you need to look at exactly how much are you earning, what's your income, and what is your expenses. Because if you are living a life whereby your expenses is more than your income, you are saving minus. You will be saving money, you can't save. Yes. So you can say, okay, for now I have so much debt, I want to pay off my debt, I need to do this and that, then I cannot afford to save up to 20% now. But if you can afford it, then go for it. If it's just 5% that you can start saving, do it. Because maybe that other 95% you are using to cover your other expenses. And then the moment you are able to earn more and maybe reduce other expenses that could now make you to be able to save more, also do it. Right? But if you're at the point where you are comfortable, you are living a good life, you can take care of your other expenses without borrowing, and then you have cash left, before you now start to increase your other expenses, like moving to the next level of your spending, you should look at reviewing how much you save in terms of percentage. So for example, if you earn like 1,000 euros per month, you should look at saving, if you can afford it, look at saving 20% of it, which is like 200 euros, which is that 800 euros. You must make sure you work on it in such a way that you can accommodate your monthly income, your monthly expense for that month, in such a way that you don't have to go into debt and then you are saving. No, don't do that. Don't borrow debt to finance your expense and then you are saying you're saving. You're not saving at the end of the day. So make sure that you get to a point where you're confident that your savings does not affect your expense, and then you don't have to borrow while you're saving. It doesn't make sense. So, but I would say look to work to a point where you can save at least 20% of your income
every month. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Is that question, is my answer too long in that respect?
No. We need to know the correct answer, and then that's what you just gave it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so the next question is, how much should I save up in my emergency fund? This is very, very important. We've had this discussion before, and I want you to tell us again so that others can learn. How much should I save up in my emergency fund, and can it be more than 6 months?
Okay. Yeah. So before I answer that question, I would first like to, for people who don't know about emergency funds, I would first like to enlighten them about what exactly we mean by emergency funds. Emergency fund is an amount of money that, in case anything unexpected happens, you can easily dip your hands into it and then finance what you need to finance, and that's what an emergency fund is. So in the rule of thumb, with so many people that I've also spoken to, with so many of my mentors, the rule of thumb is that you have at least an emergency fund of 6 months of your monthly income.
6 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it might look like okay, that's a lot, right? But at the end of the day, for most people, it pays off. So for example, if someone loses his job, you know, they actually need to have like a kind of income or fund that they need to run their lives until they get back into a job or they get back into their source of income. Or imagine if somebody has loses their business or something bad happened in their business and they don't have any means of funding their business or their family during the time of that bad happening. There has to be something that they would draw back to or they will fall back on, and that is what an emergency fund is for. Because imagine, because it might even be that while they get back into a new job, they might have to move cities. They need some money to fund that moving of cities.
Exactly.
You know, they need some money. Maybe even during that time, there are some family things that they need to do. They can look into that fund and sponsor their living, their expenses with this emergency fund, and that's why emergency fund is really important. It's something that you have to have because then it actually prevents you from borrowing when you're not working, from borrowing and running into debt. Because if the person doesn't have the emergency fund and something, they lose their job or they lose their business, then they have to borrow. It even puts much pressure on them because they're like, okay, I have so much debt and I've not even gotten a job, and then they are so, and if you're so much under pressure, under anxiety, you even do more mistakes. But if they know that fund that they're using right now, it's their fund, it's not a borrowed money, it's their money, it's their sweat, so they are calmer and they're able to really look for the kind of job they want to have and look for something even better. And that's why emergency fund is really important. It cushions you from when bad things happen, and then it cushions you from easily falling back into debt. When you don't have source of income, and that's why I really recommend that emergency fund is a must-have for everyone, and who can afford it. That's really important, and it should be something that is really sacred, and keep it aside because you never know anything can happen at any time.
I think that is very, very important because I can really relate with that. There was a time that I stopped working and trying to look for another job. So for 3 months I couldn't get anything. So there was no hope. I had to I had to pick up my credit card and started using my credit card money. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the when I got a new job, it was so difficult. It was like a serious burden.
Yes,
so,
I can imagine.
So emergency fund is very, very important. It is a must-have for everyone. So still on that same question, I want to ask, can it be more than 6 months? Because you mentioned that it has to be 6 months, but can it be more than 6 months?
Okay, so it can be more than 6 months, but I would say for you not to overdo, because at times you can also use your excess fund on some other things that can generate more money for you, right? Because now that's a little bit of saving and investment, because most times the returns your savings would give you is less than what an investment would give you. But that savings is more secure. It's your money, it's not going anywhere. And even if sometimes the banks go bankrupt or something, you can still get your savings back. But investment, it's a lot more risk. You might lose the money, right? Yes. So I would say, good, make it for 6 months. And for me, it's also important that you also look at your way, the kind of life you're living, your way of life you're living. So if you save for 6 months, if you save 6 months income, but that normally that 6 months income you save, the kind of standard of living you have now, it's not a 6 months. The 6 months is not going to be enough. Then maybe you want to increase it. Do you understand? So I would say 6 months based on the level of your standard of living. But I would also say that people are quite reasonable. I would expect you to be reasonable. That okay, if you lose your job, your standard of living will kind of drop because you know that you don't have a source of income. So the extra expenses that you're doing, eating out so much and spending, going for all the luxury things that you used to go for, you would want to reduce it, right? So it's important that basic is 6 months. but also you can also adjust it to the kind of standard of living that you have. And if you can afford to do more than 6 months, do it. But also think about rather than just having your money to sit in a place and not doing so much for you, you can actually invest it if you can have better returns from your investment. That's important. So you can, of course, you can do more than 6 months, depending on what. But my basis will be at least have a 6 months.
Okay, that's very good. So another question I have is talking about still on the emergency fund.
Okay.
Is it advisable to have a separate bank account for that, or it should just be part of my?
You know, the money you don't see, don't spend.
Yeah, that's true.
So for me, it's important that separate it. It's good to really separate it, right? So I heard them just make something funny. Somebody said he had so much credit card, and then at a point he had to, because he made it up. He's not going to spend that credit, use that credit card. So what he did was he kept the credit card in the freezer, in the freezer, and then. Because the credit card is not there to use, it's in the freezer, and then before you detour your freezer and then bring out a card. I mean, the desire of what you want to use it for would have been like, okay, you know what, it's fine, another day, right? And that's because, and through that person was able to like reduce his spendings through on credit card. And the point I'm trying to bring out there is that because the person could not reach the credit card, the person didn't use that credit card. The same thing I would say should apply here. Your emergency fund should not be something you can easily access. Okay. Right? You can have an account where you can have an account for it where you don't have a card for it.
Yeah.
Right?
So you won't be tempted.
Yes, you won't even be tempted to access it. You won't have a token for it or a PIN that you can easily access for it. That can easily give you access to that account. So I would say you should make it separate it from your regular current account or your regular savings account. Make it very, very separate. And the funny thing about emergency funds is that you could actually put them in some kind of fixed, secured investment, you know, and they will be open-ended. That means you can easily access them when you want to access them, but they are secured in the sense that whatever the case may be, you are still going to get your money back. Yeah. Sure, you understand? Yeah. So for example, with treasury bills, you can you can invest in emergency funds in treasury because you can easily sell it off even when it's not matured. You can easily sell it off. So I would say you could do those kind of things. Yeah, because then that way you get some more. You might get some more interest, some more returns on yours than just saving it, you know. But then important is that it's liquid. You can easily access it when you need it. But then it's not something that you can just pick a card, for example, because if you have to do your treasury, you have to like consult somebody, maybe your banker who is managing it for you and all of that. So that's my answer to that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. So the summary of this is that having an emergency fund is very, very important to save you from so many stress. And should be like 6 months, but if you have the capacity, you can do more and then try and separate it from your regular account. Yes. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we'll move to our next question. And is it advisable to pump more money into investment than savings?
Okay, I think that's a good question, and it's good that this question is actually coming after the emergency fund question that I just answered. I would say, I said that, for example, it depends on, for the emergency fund, I said, if you have the capacity for it, depending on your standard of living, you can increase your emergency fund, right? And then, but if you think that you can actually do more with it from on your investment, go ahead for it, put it in your investment. So I would also say that it actually depends on your risk. How risk thirsty are you? Are you someone that goes for risk, or you are risk averse? If you are thirsty for risk, if you are more risk friendly, you would pump more money into investment. So it's like number one, it's a personal thing. But if you think, no, I really want to be sure that my money is safe and secured, I'd rather put it in my savings, then you can keep putting your money into savings. But I was talking to someone yesterday, and we talked that okay, nobody gets wealthy. You can't achieve wealth through savings.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's good that you pump more money if you have the money, if you have the access, right? You pump more money into your investment, right? So if you've gotten to a particular threshold in your savings, look into investment, because then you want to actually at the end of the day, you want to live a financially free life. You want to be comfortable. You want to be attain some kind of wealthiness that you know that money is not an issue for you, and you can only achieve that. One of the ways you can achieve that, apart from inheriting so much money from your parents, or so, is by investing. So if you have the access, if you have the capability, if you have the competency, if you have people that can advise you, if you have the resources also, you should pump money into your investments, because that's the only way you get income back, because your investment works for you. It brings you more returns, and that's what you want to do. You want your money to be able to work for you. Your savings will not work for you as much as your investment would be. So that's really important.
Thank you very much for that. So I just have another question. Okay, is it advisable to use the money in my savings to invest? Because you mentioned the last time we had this discussion that when saving, you should have a goal, like you can have a particular goal. Maybe you're saving towards buying a house or a car. Can I also save towards investing? Like I say, okay, the goal of this savings is to invest. Is it also advisable?
Yes, I think that's a really good question. So I said before that there's nobody achieves wealth in savings, and savings is one of a foundation that you need to have before you can even think of investments. So from my own school of thought is that first you need to be able to budget. The next thing is to save, and the next thing is to invest. You cannot, without a budget, start investing. You are going to cause a lot of chaos for yourself. You are going to probably even lose money, because you don't know what you are doing. It's just everything is just a mismatch, right? So the first thing you do is get your acts together, budget your money. The next thing is set some amount of it aside, save, and then the third thing you do is to invest. So yes, your savings, you should have a investments. Your saving, part of your savings goal should be like, okay, you're saving this particular amount to invest.
Okay.
Right? Because in one of my last videos, I shared, I was like, okay, maybe people should invest in mutual funds, or you go to invest in ETFs, right? And some of this, they might tell you, okay, the minimum amount that you can use to invest is like $1,000, right? And some of them even have like huge amount. You might say, okay, you can do like $10,000, right? And maybe you are not in a month, you're not earning up to that you can cover that kind of money at once. So you know that, okay, if I want to buy maybe a mutual fund that will cost me $1,000, right? So you know that's like 2 months of savings for you. So maybe you every month you save 500, and at the end of the second month you have the $1,000, and then you can use that $1,000 to invest in that mutual fund. So you've saved, right? And then the next thing you did is to invest. So yes, you should have goals. You should have saving goals, and part of one of your saving goals could be that you're saving towards investing in particular instruments.
Thank you very much for the explanation. It's really helpful. So from now we move to our next question. And so my next question is, should I buy or lease a car? Should I buy a car or should I lease a car? So which one is the best way to go about it?
Well, you want to buy a car? What kind of car are you looking to buy?
Mercedes C-Class.
Wow.
20 model.
Yes. 2020 model.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
C-Class, S-Class.
Yeah, C-Class.
C-Class.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy is rich.
I'm just asking on behalf of our audience.
Okay. Well, so you're thinking about if you want to buy all.
For example, if I have $20,000 and then I'm interested in a Mercedes-Benz C-Class 2020 model, so what will you advise?
That I would say thank you for the question, number one. Number two, it's a really good question. Number three, it's not something that we can answer or I can give you a very perfect answer at this moment. There is no perfect answer for such questions because it's a, and like I said, it's quite complicated because you have to look at the pros and cons of leasing a car and buying a car. And for example, if you lease a car, you know, that $20,000 that you have, you don't have to give it out all at once. You can use that cash for something else. You can use it for some other forms of investment or save or do some other things, right? Because leasing, you're paying like on a monthly basis. But if you're buying it, you're using that $20,000 is gone and you're receiving a car. You cannot use that $20,000 anymore. So that's like, for example, pro and con for leasing and buying a car. I would, instead of us going into deeper details right now, I would rather make a more elaborate episode on this particular topic also for our audience, and then they can come back and have an idea of how to go about either how to decide whether they need to buy a car or lease a car.
Okay, that's good.
I hope I'm able to.
yeah, that's very okay.
Yes.
So we are looking forward and waiting for the next episode. Thank you. So can we talk about retirement?
Yes.
Yes. One day we're all going to retire.
Yes,
It's very important.
Yes, we don't go anywhere.
Yes, so I have some questions and I hope you are able to answer.
I hope so.
We'll have the time to answer.
I hope so.
Yes, so my question is, when do I need to start saving for retirement?
Well, I think you start saving now for your retirement because there is no time to waste.
Okay.
And the earlier you start saving for your retirement, the better for you. And why I said that is because like the retirement house or the investment fund that manage your retirement money or your funds, they actually work a lot on the number of years that you're putting the money into it. Because the earlier you start, so imagine if you start saving towards retirement at 19, that's when you are 19, maybe you started working or you started having some side hustles and you started ending them, and then maybe that particular amount, that retirement money you're putting aside every month on an annual basis brings you like, I don't know, 5% or 2% or even 10% on an annual basis, and you roll it over every year. At the end of the day, even if it's the same amount you're putting in every month, and you compare that to somebody who starts like maybe when they were 30, you that you started earlier will definitely have more. You might have even eat your, like maybe as a millionaire by the time you retire compared to the person who started when they were 30. I think I made an analysis some days ago. I would also like to share that in one of my comment videos where I compared someone who was saving $1,000, I think $1,000 per annum. I think $1,000 per annum with 10% returns per annum when they were 19. And by the time this person, my prototype, gets to 65 and they keep paying that 1,000, right? Already was a millionaire. I will share this some other time. This was for me really practical.
Thank you so much for answering our questions. I've learned a lot, and I believe that our viewers out there, they've picked some information that will help them in their finance and their personal lives as well. So if not because we don't have enough time, we have more questions, but we're going to do this next time. Hopefully we'll be able to do this. And
I have to say it's a pleasure for me to answer your questions. I hope I've been able to answer them to your satisfaction, and especially to our viewers out there who have also listened, and I hope they can take one or two things away with them. And of course, if there are more questions, I'll be more than happy. And I know you have more questions.
I have more questions.
I know you have more questions, and of course, I will look forward to answer them in our next episode. So thank you very much.
Because when it comes to the issue of finance, it's very important. Most people ignore it, and it's time for us to wake up and package ourselves and
yes.
also work.
We need to get our acts together.
Exactly.
We need to because the thing is, one of my mantras is if you don't control your money will control you. So it's that way. So it's that you control your money.
I think that should be in quotes under Bukola.
Yes, exactly. If you don't control your money will control you. So thank you very much, viewers out there. I hope you've also learned a lot today. And of course, if you have more questions, you can drop them in the comments. We will look forward to pick up these questions in our next episode. And until then, bye-bye.
Bye.